You can tell an older woman apart before she even speaks. There's something in her energy, a stillness that younger women don't have yet. She's not rushing to impress anyone. She's not performing. She's not afraid of silence. She knows her own rhythm. And that's what makes her sexually intense. It's not about experience in the physical sense. It's about emotional precision. Older women know what they feel, what they want, and what they will not tolerate anymore. Most younger women are still trying to prove something, to be desired, to be chosen, to be validated. That constant need for approval softens their presence. They move fast, talk fast, and fall fast because they're afraid that if they don't, they'll lose the connection. Older women have already lost, loved, and rebuilt themselves enough times to understand that attraction doesn't depend on effort. It depends on presence. When an older woman looks at you, she's not checking your clothes or your jawline. She's sensing your energy. She's scanning how you react to her silence. She's not interested in small talk. She's interested in tension, real tension, the kind that builds slowly, without words, through confidence and awareness. That's why older women come off as more sexually intense. They no longer chase validation. They embody it. A younger woman might say, "I like confidence." An older woman demands it. She can feel insecurity before you even try to hide it. She's lived through too many shallow connections to mistake attention for intimacy. That's what changes everything. Her sexuality isn't about being provocative. It's about being real. She doesn't perform desire. She expresses it when she feels safe enough to. And when she does, it's not playful. It's powerful. Older women carry a kind of grounded sensuality that younger women are still learning to build. They've stopped using beauty as their main weapon. Their power comes from awareness. They've learned how to slow down. They don't need to rush pleasure. They want depth. They don't crave fantasy. They crave truth. That's why intimacy with them feels heavier. It's not a game anymore. It's energy, meeting energy, not ego meeting ego. A lot of men don't understand this difference because they've never slowed down either. They're used to fast pleasure, quick attention, dopamine hits. With a younger woman, that rhythm works. It's mutual escape. But with an older woman, that same approach dies instantly. She doesn't want escape. She wants presence. She wants to feel you thinking of her while doing nothing at all. She wants to feel your calm, not your hunger. Older women have learned to be selective with their energy. They won't give it to a man who doesn't understand the language of patience. They value the man who can sit still, look at them, and say nothing, because that's where true confidence lives. Most men mistake sexual intensity for noise. They think they have to perform it. But older women feel intensity in silence. They feel it in how grounded you are, how little you need from them. That's what draws them in. Younger women often express attraction by being loud with emotion, texting constantly, reacting quickly, needing reassurance. Older women express attraction by softening. They stop fighting. They open slowly, not because they're shy, but because they're measuring your depth. They've been burned by attention before, so they look for awareness instead. They crave a man who sees the woman behind the image, and when she finally gives you that energy, it changes you. Older women don't just give affection, they give clarity. They don't kiss to please, they kiss to connect. They don't touch you to win you over. They touch you to remember themselves through you. That's why it feels different. You're not being consumed, you're being seen. And for most men, that's new. Men often say, there's something different about older women. They feel more powerful, more sure. That power comes from pain. Every heartbreak taught her to stop performing softness for men who couldn't handle strength. Every disappointment stripped away the need to be liked. So what's left now is honesty. And honesty is the sexiest thing there is. An older woman won't fake attraction. If she wants you, you'll know. If she doesn't, you'll feel it instantly. She has no interest in pretending anymore. That's part of her intensity. She knows her worth so deeply that her presence alone becomes erotic. It's not the words, not the clothes, not the flirting. It's the way she doesn't chase. It's the way she makes space for you to rise to her level or leave. You don't chase pleasure because you want it. You chase it because, for a moment, it silences the pain you can't explain. You tell yourself you love the feeling, the rush, the distraction, the warmth, but deep down, you know it's not about joy. It's about escape. It's about avoiding the silence that reminds you of everything you haven't healed. Jung said, "Until you make the unconscious conscious, it will direct your life, and you will call it fate." Maybe that's why you keep ending up here, chasing another hit of happiness that never lasts. When you scroll through your phone for hours, you're not searching for pleasure. You're searching for relief. Relief from the ache that lives behind your smile. The constant noise, the chaos, the temporary high, they give you a sense that you're alive. But what they really do is numb the part of you that's dying to be felt. The part that hurts. The part that never got a chance to speak. Jung believed every pleasure hides a shadow. Every craving is born from something you lost: love, security, self-worth. You're not addicted to the feeling. You're addicted to the forgetting. You want to forget how much it hurts to be alone. You want to forget that love never stayed. You want to forget the moment life taught you that peace comes with a price. So you bury it under entertainment, attention, sex, success, anything that keeps you from remembering. But pleasure doesn't heal pain. It only covers it. And the more you cover, the more it grows. Because what you avoid doesn't disappear. It transforms. The pain you ignore becomes the craving that controls you. It turns into the obsession that tells you, if I just get one more, I'll finally be fine. You convince yourself that happiness is waiting on the other side of achievement, validation, or another person. But it never is. You're chasing a mirage that was born from your wounds. You see, pleasure in itself isn't the enemy. Jung never condemned it. He warned against what happens when it becomes your God. When you worship it to escape what's real. When you mistake comfort for connection and distraction for peace. Pleasure without awareness is self-betrayal. It tricks you into believing you're free while it tightens its chains around your soul. Look at your patterns. You say you're tired, but you never stop moving. You say you want peace, but silence makes you anxious. You say you're in control, but you panic when there's nothing to control. That's not freedom. That's avoidance disguised as strength. Jung would say your shadow has taken the wheel. It's the part of you that feeds on pleasure because it's terrified of pain. The child inside you who never felt safe now hides behind the adult who pretends to be fine. Think about it. When was the last time you truly felt joy without needing anything? Without music, screens, or another person's attention? If you can't remember, it's because you've been using pleasure as anesthesia. Real joy feels light. It fills you. But addictive pleasure drains you. It gives you a brief illusion of fullness, then leaves you emptier than before. That emptiness is your truth knocking on the door. But every time it knocks, you turn up the volume. You run faster. You call it ambition, productivity, love, fun. But really, it's fear. Jung said that neurosis is always a substitute for legitimate suffering. What does that mean? It means that your mind will invent 1,000 distractions just to avoid one honest emotion. It means the things that you call fun might just be the ways you run from yourself. The irony is, you can't escape what's inside you. The shadow doesn't vanish when you look away. It waits. It learns your habits. It hides in your pleasures. You think the world rewards pleasure, but it actually rewards awareness. When you understand why you crave something, you no longer become a slave to it. Jung called this process individuation, becoming whole by facing the parts of yourself you've rejected. And maybe that's what's missing. Maybe you've been chasing happiness in fragments, while your soul has been asking for integration. Pleasure promises you the illusion of control. Pain demands surrender. That's why you avoid it. That's why you stay busy. Because to sit with pain is to admit you're human. And to admit you're human is to feel everything you've been pretending doesn't exist. But here's the truth, Jung would whisper. The pain you fear is the doorway to freedom. The moment you stop running from it, it stops chasing you. Every time you indulge in something to escape, ask yourself, what am I really trying not to feel right now? That's where your shadow begins to speak. That's where your healing starts. Because healing isn't about avoiding darkness. It's about walking into it with your eyes open. Pleasure fades, but awareness stays. The goal is not to stop enjoying life. It's to stop using joy as a drug. The thing about older women is they don't chase excitement. They create it, not through chaos, but through control. Their energy is focused, deliberate, and unapologetically real. When she looks at you, it's not curiosity, it's clarity. She's not trying to figure out what you want. She's deciding if you're worth her time. That's what most men can't handle. A younger woman flirts for reaction. An older woman observes. She doesn't compete with other women because she's past that stage. She knows comparison is weakness. She's seen what insecurity does to attraction. It kills it. So now, her entire power comes from not trying. You feel her confidence the way you feel gravity. You can't see it, but it pulls you in. Every older woman who carries that kind of sexual power has one thing in common. She's emotionally self-sufficient. She doesn't need your attention to feel valuable. She's lived through years of being misunderstood, taken for granted, and undervalued. And instead of breaking, she refined herself. That's what creates her presence. Pain, processed with awareness, turns into power. Most men aren't ready for that level of intensity. They say they want a mature woman until they meet one. Then they realize maturity demands accountability. You can't fake depth around a woman who's mastered hers. You can't hide behind charm or excuses. She's seen them all. That's what makes her both intimidating and irresistible. Older women communicate through energy more than words. She can tell when you're overcompensating. She can sense when you're not grounded. That's why she respects calm men, the ones who don't chase validation either. When a man meets her stillness with his own, something magnetic happens. The room slows down. The tension builds quietly. It's not loud or dramatic. It's pure awareness. The younger woman's attraction often comes from fantasy, what she imagines you could be. The older woman's attraction comes from recognition, what she already sees in you. That difference changes everything. You don't have to entertain her. You have to match her. She doesn't want promises. She wants peace. And peace isn't something you can fake. You either have it or you don't. That's why younger men often find themselves addicted to older women. She brings them something they've never experienced before. Emotional calm mixed with raw intensity. She doesn't need to prove she's sexy. Her energy does it for her. When she's in the room, the air feels heavier. She's not louder. She's clearer. When she connects with a man, it's never shallow. She's not trying to impress him with appearance or words. She's focused on how he makes her feel. Does he listen? Does he stay grounded when she tests him? Does he make her feel safe without losing his edge? Those are the signals she reads. If a man fails that test, she doesn't argue. She simply disappears. Silence is her filter. Men who are used to chasing validation will always misinterpret that silence. They'll think she's cold. But she's not cold. She's precise. She doesn't chase because she knows what she's worth. She doesn't explain because she knows what you didn't understand. That's what makes her unforgettable. You never get closure from someone who never begged to be understood. Younger women often crave the idea of being chosen. Older women crave mutual recognition. That's why they radiate confidence. Their self-worth no longer depends on someone else's opinion. They've learned that love built on insecurity is just emotional debt. You'll always owe more than you get. They'd rather stay alone than be half understood. That's power. And that power shows up everywhere, in the way they talk, walk, smile, and even stay quiet. Their body language says everything. They don't ask for validation. They create it. They know that being desired isn't about being young. It's about being grounded. Desire follows depth. You can't fake that kind of presence. It comes from years of reflection, from heartbreaks that forced her to build herself back from zero, from moments where she had to learn that love isn't proof of worth. It's a reflection of it. That's why intimacy with her feels spiritual. It's not about sex. It's about resonance. Every glance, every touch carries meaning. Younger women often fall in love with what a man could be. Older women fall in love with what a man already is. That's why they're harder to please, but easier to satisfy. They don't need perfection. They need authenticity. They're not looking for fantasy. They're looking for alignment. When they find it, they give themselves completely. And that's the paradox. Older women seem mysterious to men, but they're actually the clearest ones in the room. They know exactly who they are and what they feel. They're not hiding behind charm, pretending to be low maintenance, or acting like they don't care. They care deeply, but selectively. So if this made sense to you, remember this. Attraction isn't about youth, looks, or noise. It's about awareness. Older women don't chase it. They are it. If this video opened your eyes, drop a comment and tell me what kind of energy you're drawn to. Chaos or calm? Because what attracts you says everything about where you are in life. Like the video, if it hit different, share it with someone who needs to hear this truth. And make sure you subscribe. There's more coming that'll change the way you see attraction forever.